What's up YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, I want to tell you guys all about how I got started. All right, people, listen, hey, if you already follow me, you follow my content, you're in Recruiter Empire, our Facebook group, link in description, but if you already follow me, thank you so much for being on my journey. If you don't follow my content, if you're brand new to this video and my channel, hey, we talk about entrepreneurship, business, finance, real estate, investing, software, pretty much everything under the sun, make money online type of deal, and everything self-improvement, everything growth, right? So if you like that kind of stuff, you definitely should subscribe to the channel, and there's a lot of good content. You can check all the videos that I have up, probably about 700 plus, that you will definitely enjoy. Let's get into this video about how I got started to where I am here right now today. So people ask me this question all the time, like, how did you get started? And when I went down to Cabo, I was with a lot of entrepreneurs and they asked this question so frequently, like, what do you do? Or how did you get started? And all that kind of stuff. And hey, listen, guys, if you're not into finding out about how someone goes from point A to point Z, where I'm at right now, then just tune out. This video is not for you. But if you want to know the real about how someone's journey goes and how things are challenging and how things are winning for you and how it all comes together, this is all for you. So I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to give you a short video on this. Stick with me to the end. It's not going to be a long-winded grandpa story or anything, but I'll tell you everything in detail about how this went down and how I am where I am right now, which is a really good place for me. So everything basically starts from my last 9-to-5 job that I ever had, and that is at Microsoft. So I used to work at Microsoft, and this is back in late 2016. So I've been in the game for close to 7 years now in business, in pure business, right? But everything actually starts way before then. So think back to 2014, 2013. In that time, I was flipping used refurbished electronics on eBay, on Amazon, on Craigslist. I was doing all that kind of stuff, all that little hustler entrepreneurship type stuff. Yeah, I was doing it just like you were. I know a bunch of you were, right? So lots of you guys were doing similar things, right? Because some people are just born entrepreneurs and they do these things just out of habit. Like this is just like, I see something, I can sell that for profit, so I'm gonna go sell that for profit, right? So I was a born entrepreneur and I was always doing those things until I went to college and was still doing those things in college, right? Still running a business, still running and selling things, used things on eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, whatever, etc., and doing all that stuff throughout college. So you could basically say from that, I'd been an entrepreneur forever. I was born with the entrepreneur gene, I like to say, right? It's something that you can definitely learn, but it's definitely an advantage if you already have it. So let's fast forward back to 2016, where I'm working at Microsoft, hating every minute of it, right? So I had a handful of sales jobs that were prior to that, and my degree in college was in political science, has nothing to do with what I do today, but having a college degree, I think, is a great thing. Having a college education is a great thing. I think a lot of days, a lot of people are trashing it, but it's neither here nor there. I think if you want to go to college, great. If you don't, great. Whatever, that's up to you. But long story short is I did go to college and I found the experience to be fantastic. I feel I'm better educated because of it. No more world affairs, know more about people, no more communication skills, which is super important. So I learned a lot going through college, but after college, I was kind of left high and dry with my degree because there isn't a direct application a lot of times for so many people's degrees that they get that translates directly to a certain job. Now, oftentimes if you're in IT or if you're in finance or if you're in medicine or if you're in like physical therapy or whatever it is, right? Law, like those things are direct correlations to your job. But for like 85, almost 90% of others, right? You don't have a direct correlation to a job that you're going to go to. So you end up doing something else random, which is exactly what happened to me on my journey, right? So as we follow along my journey, I ended up at a few random sales positions, and then I ended up in Microsoft as an account manager. Super random position, paid about $55,000 a year, and that was my last 9-to-5. Now, let's fast forward from there. When I was at Microsoft, this is where everything took off, right? So basically at Microsoft, I had a job where I swear to you, no exaggeration, I had 6 hours of free time in the day. We had an 8-hour workday, but 6 hours was free. I literally only had to do about 2 hours of work every single day. And I can say that freely and openly now, literally, like my boss watches this channel. Hey, what's up? So anyways, long story short, I built the actual recruiting agency that I started, Seattle Search Solutions, at my 9-to-5 job. I was literally on my phone doing everything. I didn't want to do it on my work computer or anything like that, just because that's weird and that can be traceable. And I didn't want to look like I was doing that on company time. So what I did instead was basically pretty much kind of set up everything on my phone. And I'll tell you how that worked out. It worked out great. I got my first recruiting client in literally under 2 weeks. And all I was doing was reaching out to literal cold emails on a small volume, like really small volume, like sending out 10, 15 cold emails a day, anywhere I could find an email, right? Because I wasn't into the automation tools. I wasn't into any of the big LinkedIn stuff that we do now, right? Those were all learned things, right? I learned all these things, and eventually now I've built tools like that, right? So that being said, I was reaching out to people's Facebook business pages, right? Just with a cold template little message on Facebook. Like, hey, HVAC company, do you need an assistant? Do you need HVAC people? What do you need, right? And lo and behold, within literally 2 weeks, I had client number 1, which was an HVAC company that needed an admin. Great, awesome. That was a $4,000 placement. So let me just make this a little bit faster. $4,000 placement turns into my next client, which is a $37,000 payout because they need 10 drivers. So I'm pretty much in the money. And at this point, I'm basically almost making my $55,000 salary in half the time, or a quarter of the time, of what they would pay me that salary in. So you could see very easily how that financial equation does not make any sense, right? It doesn't match up, it doesn't marry. So very quickly, I realized that I needed to leave. I needed to scale the actual, I was gonna say Recruiter Empire, but I needed to scale Seattle Search Solutions, right? So I needed to tell them, hey, I'm giving you my 2 weeks and I'm out because I need to build this. This is what's happening. I told my boss everything. I said, this is exactly what's happening. So he's like, hey, can you give me 3 weeks? I'm like, sure, you got 3 weeks. I'll give it to you. Okay. And then I'm out. All right. So fast forward a little bit more. After I actually leave my job at Microsoft, I scale Seattle Search to kingdom come. I'm literally getting clients left and right. I'm getting clients that are doing repeat business, referral business, so much volume business. I'm niching in everything. I'm all over the place. I'm working 12, 15-hour days and beyond, and I'm literally doing things in styles that we wouldn't even talk about today, right? The most elementary ways of recruiting. But I was able to implement slowly but surely and learn slowly but surely what makes a client happy. How do you get a client, right? How do you get a lot of clients? How do you get candidates, right? How do you make candidates happy? Or what makes candidates want the job, right? How do you sell the job to the candidate? And all of those things came together. So I was able to scale the recruiting agency to 7 figures and get really comfy with the recruiting agency. So had a few staffing contracts, direct placement recruiting contracts. I was doing all of it, right? And living and breathing and loving recruiting, because at this point I was making money for myself. And one of the biggest takeaways that everyone should take away from this video is that I had never worked harder in my life until I realized I was working directly for myself. It was pretty much at this point that I realized once I started working for myself and that I could scale and pivot and do other things, that I was then able to get on YouTube. And that's when YouTube started, right? So if you go back, way back, you can check out my first video on YouTube ever. It looks horrendous, but check out my first video. And here I am 700 plus videos later, and I built a huge YouTube channel and love bestowing information about recruiting and about finance, software, investing, and all that stuff now, right, on YouTube. So built a huge YouTube following, built the Facebook group, which you should all be in. If you're looking to get into recruiting, you should absolutely be in Recruiter Empire. Link right down below this video. Click the link, get into the group. You 100% want to be there if you're getting into recruiting. Anyways, besides that, basically building those two social platforms created just this awesome way for me to bestow so much information to people for free. Like just answering questions, like helping people, like, hey, how did you get that client? Well, here's how I did it. Or what's the niche that you're into right now? Well, here's the few niches that I'm into right now. I'm not into just one. Like all that stuff was super, super important to a lot of people. And I was just there at the right time, right place to be able to create this community, this movement, because so many people have not been in this space on their own. So many people are running in, a 9-to-5 at an agency, right? Or they're at a corporation recruiting for the corporation, right? Corporate recruiting. They're not on their own where they should be making all of the money, 100% of the cut, not 30% of the cut, not 40% of the cut. I'm talking about 100% of everything that you catch and kill, right? Like literally find the client, find the candidates, and you get everything. So always that's been my motive once I started, and I'm like, man, I had no recruiting background when started it, scaled this thing huge, and was like, anyone can do this, right? So that's basically the recruiting story, okay? Let's move forward. Now, once the recruiting agency was really, really comfy, I wanted to move more into the teaching space. So that's when Recruiter Empire was born. Recruiter Empire was born officially about 4 years ago. So Recruiter Empire comes on the scene, and immediately I start teaching paid programming. And this is where our Empire Mentorship program came out. This is where all of our programs came out, right? So this is where we actually started teaching people, and I brought on parts of my team to start helping and teaching people exactly how to start a recruiting agency and how to build something and actually create a 6-figure business for yourself. So that's where Recruiter Empire was born. It was born out of literally me just projecting so much information that I was able to say, listen, let me just formalize this. Let me put this into an actual program where people can invest in themselves, go through training with us, have live Zoom teaching sessions, and really, really get from soup to nuts, A to Z, everything they need on how to actually do it. And we've produced literally thousands. Okay, at this point, we've taught over 1,000 students how to build a recruiting and staffing agency. And we've also been able to help those students produce over, at this point, $30 million in gross revenue for them, not for us, in their pockets. They've been able to produce over $30 million in revenue, which is just mind-blowing to me considering where everything started from humble beginnings. So Recruiter Empire has been amazing, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to expand. We're only enhancing everything every single day with Recruiter Empire. So Recruiter Empire has been really, really a dream because I'm a natural born teacher, right? I love conveying information. If I can help somebody out, if I can move them forward, I'm absolutely going to do that. All right, guys, so from the humble beginnings of working the 9-to-5 in the cubicle, right, from hustling on electronics and eBay and Craigslist, all the way to Recruiter Empire, where we're literally enrolling 20, 25 students a month into our programs, where basically we're teaching them how to build a 6-figure recruiting agency, all the way up to 7 figures even. We've had students that have gone to $1 million. With that being said, then I've pivoted into other things, some things that people don't know about whatsoever, right? So this is why lately I've been talking a lot about real estate investing, because I've been able to start investing a lot in real estate, in the stock market, etc., doing a lot of things while things are on sale right now. I'm not going to talk about market conditions. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. You can do your own research, do your own stuff, but I will tell you that investing gets really, really important when you start making large sums of money in recruiting. So when people that I interview made $100,000 in one singular month, your money needs to go somewhere because it needs to be protected. So I talk a lot about investing and real estate, and I'm going to do a lot more videos on those concepts because those things have become so important to me and so important just in general for you and your financial health, your financial wealth, all of it. Everything that's going to happen in your life going forward depends on all of the money you make and how you use it, right? You know what's going to make the difference between you making your money and how you use it. If you have a family, if you don't have a family, it doesn't matter, right? There's certain ways that you should do certain things with your money, and we'll talk a lot about more of that in different videos. But right now, I just wanted to say and mention that I talk here about Airbnb. I talk about how I've invested in a ton of Airbnb this year alone, and that's just made huge returns. I'll make further videos about that. But one of the biggest things that people don't know is something I'll tell you about right now. So for approximately the past 8 to 10 months, I have been developing a software, and this software is basically going to be the king of kings for everything recruiting. I'm not going to talk about exactly what it does. I'm not going to talk about exactly how it works or the name, and it's still in beta. We're about to launch beta versions, but this is coming out. And essentially, over the years, after teaching over 1,000 students how to build six-figure empires, right, and scale them, we found all of the problems that come into play, like every single one of them. Working with 1,000 students plus, you definitely find out what's wrong, what works, what doesn't work, what needs assistance, and what needs to be fixed. I've solved for all of that by building a software specifically that is a hub for literally everything that you do in recruiting. When this comes out, you will definitely know about it. I will definitely do a huge video release on this and drop a whole big thing in Recruiter Empire, the Facebook group. If you haven't joined by this point, you should definitely click the link. But that being said, that will be announced as well. So developing software and creating that for recruiters at this point, right? It can really work for anybody, like lead generation or if you're doing whatever, but recruiting especially, this is going to solve like all the problems that most of you guys know what I'm talking about if you follow me for everything. Email stuff, right? Email deliverability, the syntax, the copy that you use, right? The collection of data, right? Like things like that. I'm not going to give too much away about exactly what this is, but this is going to be something really, really big, and I'm really excited about it. So that's the next pivot. That's the next evolution, right? And there's so much more to come. So basically, from humble beginnings, everything that I've done has been what it is, but I've brought it full circle and I've created exactly the life that I want. I've created everything that I've manifested and really wanted to do. I wanted to be in a position where I can help people, right? Because everything that I do, I want to have impact, right? I want to have impact related directly towards everything and everyone that I interact with, that I engage with. So Recruiter Empire is incredibly impact driven, right? Like we want to help people succeed. I want to see people go and build multi six-figure businesses out of Recruiter Empire. So everything is so impact driven, and my journey has always been as an entrepreneur to move and pivot into things that help other people, right? So Zig Ziglar has that quote, and I did this in my other video. I talked about it, right? He who helps enough people get what they want will always have enough of what he wants, right? The quote's butchered, but it's basically like help enough people and you'll have plenty enough help that you need, right? Or whatever you want, whatever you need, all of that, right? And I live by that. All right, guys, I'm going to shut up now because I feel like I'm just kind of blabbering on at this point, but I wanted to let you know where I came from and where I'm at right now and where I'm going, because I think it's really important for us to think big, right? And think big picture, right? You don't serve anybody by thinking small. And I realized that once I started thinking big, right? Creating Recruiter Empire, creating software, right? Building my recruiting agency and scaling it, helping people. Like those are big things. You got to think on a bigger scale. You don't serve anybody by thinking small. You're not serving yourself. You're not serving your family or anyone else. I truly believe to much is given, much is expected. And for that, I will always drive my businesses and every venture that I'm in on an impact-driven basis, right? Meaning I want to impact someone's life in a positive way and help someone up, right? I want to get to the top of the mountain, but then I want to reach my hand down and bring somebody up. I think that's critical, and I think that's really, really important for everyone to always remember. If you're going to take another thing out of this video, that's one thing right there. Servitude, being able to help other people and serve other people and help bring them up. It will pay out for you tenfold. I can pretty much guarantee you that. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my journey and my origin story, or basically kind of like the core of it. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments down below. I'd love to answer them because I'd love to speak about kind of where I came from and where I'm at and where I'm going. And I just wanted to relay that in a video to you. So hopefully you found value or interesting, things out of this. And if you did, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel right now, and I will see you guys next time.